Hello, I thought I'd record a quick video to show you how to add an image to a Joomla article from the front of the website. To do this, you will need to be able to log in. So let's do this now. I've got manager access set up on my test website here. And as soon as logged in, then you're looking for the icon, normally on the right hand side, which allows you to edit a particular article. And that'll bring up the editor that you're choosing to use. In many cases, it'll be the JCE WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get, which will look something like this. Okay, so that's what you'll need to do. Let's log out again, or close this for a second, because we need to now think about the image itself. Before we use the image, we need to think about where we want to put it on our website, which will dictate its size, the actual size of the image that we're going to use. So currently, the width of this article is 700 pixels. Alright, so I need to work out what size of image will fit nicely into this and work with the article. I'm thinking around about maybe 250 pixels, which will probably come out maybe from the left hand side here, maybe come out about that far there. Okay, and it'll maybe come down about to here. Okay, so that's what we're going to try and do, is we're going to try and add an image into this position here. Alright, now onto the image before we do anything else. When you get an image out of camera, the chances are it's going to be rather large in file size. If you use that image straight from the camera without adjusting it first, it will affect the loading speed of your website. If you use lots of large images, your website will become very slow, which will make it a very poor user experience. So we need to optimize these images before we use them on the website. Alright then, so let's look at this image here. An easiest way of using it, or working out what an image actually is going to view the details of that image. And often we can click to add the dimensions. Alright, so the two elements that we're directly interested in is the actual file size of the image, which is currently around about 10 megabytes, and its dimensions in pixels, currently 5000 by 2800. Alright, which is generally a very large image. If we open this image, you'll see it's very large, and I'll be able to zoom a long way in because it is such a large image, which is no use for web sites. We need to reduce its both file size so it loads quickly and its physical size so it looks correct on screen. To do this, we'll need a photo editing piece of software. There are many on the market, and there's even some free ones around that are quite good as well. For now though, I'm going to use an industry standard which you'll probably have heard of called Photoshop, so let's open that up. And now we're going to bring the image into Photoshop where we can get it down to both the right file size and dimensions in pixels. And the easiest way of doing that is using one of the tools, which is Save for Web, which is currently under Export and Save for Web. Alright. So there's a couple of tools we're going to use here. First off, it's physical size in pixels, and we've said already maybe around about 250 pixels wide would be a nice size. So let's edit that. There we go, so it's 250, and then other elements going to be completely irrelevant is going to be its physical quality of the image, which will affect the physical size on disk, the actual size of the image as a file size. I've found the quality of 60 in Photoshop works very well and gets a good compromise between file size and actual file quality. Whichever piece of software you choose to do this in may be different, and you might need to play around with the quality of the image to try and get a nice compromise between file size and image quality. Generally, the smaller the file size you get before the image starts to deteriorate in quality is best. Alright, 60 works well in Photoshop, so let's save this out. And I'm going to save it currently as, we'll just call it, I don't know, 1 for now. We'll come back and talk about that in a moment. Save. Let's close this down. And now we've got our new image, which is now 10 kilobits or bytes, which is a far more appropriate file size for use on a website. Nice and small so it loads quickly. Also notice dimensions is, as we set it, is 250 pixels wide. Right, the last thing we want to adjust is the actual name of the image. And this is down to optimizing it so it's searchable. When people search for a particular topic, if you have images on your website that represent that topic, you want them to be named appropriately to what the image is about. It helps the search engines such as Google understand the image and help it rank and help your overall website rank appropriately. And we'll do other tips and tricks for ranking later in our process. For now though, this picture is of a sunset, and this particular sunset is on the Isle of Skye, so we're going to call it Isle of Skye sunset. Alright. One other thing we need to be conscious of when we're naming images is we can't have any spaces. So between each of the words of our name, we need to actually remove the spaces and replace them simply with dashes. So there we are. We have renamed the image and now we're ready to use it on the website. This preparation beforehand is very important. Let's move back to the website, and we're currently logged in, so we can go to edit the article. As I say, we're using the JCE WYSIWYG editor, which is very common within Joomla websites, and we're going to use that to add the image. I want the image to sit off to the left hand side of the first paragraph of text here, so I'm going to click roughly where I want it at the very start there, and then go and find the tool here of Insert or Edit Image. Click on that, which brings up our interface, and this may look differently depending which features have been turned off and on in your particular setup. Right, now on to a bit of organization. It's very good to have a decent folder structure within your Joomla media system so that it's all labeled correctly and you can find the images you want for the appropriate part of the website you're working on. So I'm going to create a new folder and simply call it, I don't know, sunset, and click OK. Right, so that's our folder. We're going to open the folder by clicking on it, and now we want to upload our image of the sunset on the Isle of Skye to that folder by clicking upload. Dragging our system off to the side just to create a smaller window with the browser in it, finding the image that we want and dragging it across to drop it on top of our unit here, and then maximizing our screen size again. Once we've got the image listed here, then we can click upload. And there we go, we've uploaded it to the folder, ready to go. Now we're ready to actually add it to the to this particular article itself. So we need to make sure the image we want to use is selected. Clicking on it sometimes is enough, and then make sure it populates up here. You can see the folder structure, where the image is, and then the alt tag labeled here as well. So this is another element of our search engine optimization, and is ensuring each image we use has an appropriate alternative text, which is a means of explaining to people what the image is about. It also is very useful for the search engines who struggle understanding images, so the combination of the image being named correctly within the file name and the alternative text is really important. Okay. Now that we've done that, we're going to click Insert, and we can see we've inserted the image into the document. Let's save this out. And we can see that's currently how the website is looking. But if you look at the relationship of the text to the image, it looks a bit odd. So we now need to go back in and we need to adjust that for our final stage. Let's go back in, we'll edit the article. We'll go back, we'll click on the image and we'll edit the image. And now we want to think about the alignment of the text with in relation to the image. So let's click on the line, and we're going to align it to the left. And the last thing we want to do is we want to add some margin. Currently, you notice in the little preview here, we've got the image and then the text right up against the image, which isn't particularly nice to look at. So what we're going to do is we're going to add margin to the right of 10, which is actually 10 pixels, and click that. And you can again see in our preview here, the text jumps off to the right of the image by 10 pixels. And when we click update and then click save, we can see the text now sits nicely around the image. And this is how we can add an image to a Joomla article. Hopefully this video is helpful for you.